Although Jay Coachman joined the Down to Business podcast, he actually invited us to his beautiful art studio and factory on 5th in Ybor City. So really we're able to sit down, really we're able to politic, talk about a lot of things from creativity to him getting his earliest start in art and to him really recognizing that from a very young age, this was really his passion and how he attributes a lot of his success, a lot of just his inspiration to his parents and to his family, because what did they do for him? Instead of, discouraging him, instead of shooting his dreams down, instead of kind of trying to put him on one path, they encouraged everything that he did. They watered him and they continued to propel him and motivate him into the creative and dope individual that he turned into today. And so, as time went on, we were even able to talk about some of the projects and opportunities that he was offered, specifically to Raleigh, North Carolina, something that he did out there that you may even have seen, you may even have driven past and not even realize that it's attributed to him and a couple of other dope creatives. So without further ado, enjoy episode 121, Authentic Alignment. All right, so definitely want to thank everybody for pulling up. Thank you for, curating this vibe. I'm very excited. Normally with the podcast, we do a lot of virtual interviews. So I was telling you I'll do a lot of events in Charlotte, but normally it's pretty much me just sending people a link, actually the website I'm recording on right now. You just discuss availability. I send them my calendar link. They pretty much just come on and they say, okay, well, we want to do Wednesday, 5:30. Okay, so pretty much we'll just be lined up. It's almost like Zoom style setup, and then we just go from there. So anytime I really get to sit down next to somebody, I'm happy, I'm elated, because that's really the vision I had for the podcast. So back when I started in 2019, before the pandemic definitely took us on a whirlwind, I wanted to be sitting right across from you. I want that real-time interaction, real-time action. And then you could have a crowd in the back too, man. That's amazing. So,
shout out to the crowd.
Come on now. So
we appreciate y'all.
So welcome everybody back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast. Here with Tamar Turner, sitting down with Jay Coachman, man, somebody who I was very fortunate enough to connect with at ECU, but then reconnect with down here in Tampa. So at ECU, we really came across each other through a lot of mutual friends. He was kind of around people like Jeter, Trey Ahmad, Mike Lowry, Shores, everybody like that. And then eventually, come on now, some good dudes. They might even tap in tonight. But eventually, just from being around the same events, just from seeing these people, Jeter was even my mentee. So just from being in that space a lot, we were able to kind of come in contact. So always knew him really as just a dope creative person, like just a down-to-earth dude and the interactions that we did have. And then he was talented. So everything that he did, everything that I saw that he was doing, that whole group, man, I didn't even dub them a nickname, but now that I think about it, I should have gave them a nickname, because from the music to the art to just creativity in general, but also making people feel comfortable. Whenever you were around them, whenever you were kind of in their space and just at events with them, it was all love. It wasn't like uptight. It wasn't really competition. They all were, in their respective lanes, but showed love nonetheless. So I was very happy when I found out, one, I thought Jay was just doing some work out here. I thought he was really just traveling a little bit. I kept seeing him tag the Tampa. I said, okay, maybe he's just doing some painting and things like that. He had some dope content. But so I slid in the DMs, and then eventually I found out he was out here. And by that time, we had both been out here for quite some time. So it was just like, damn, I felt like, lost track a little bit. We tried to connect. Things didn't happen. But, we followed suit. We were still showing love. I was actually able to be featured on his 8th Tuesday. So, one, shout out to you for that. But two, you always find ways to connect. God, throws a little monkey wrench in the plan sometimes, but that's how it's supposed to happen. Nonetheless, we're here today. We're sitting in front of like I said, a nice curated vibe, a nice, beautiful crowd right here. So, definitely excited. So, Jay, how you doing, man? How's everything on your end?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm thankful, man.
All that.
All praise to the Most High. For real. I'm just proud to be here and be able to create as much as I can.
Okay. I love that a lot. Like you said, all praise to the Most High. So I know we're going to get a lot of traction here. We're going to get some ECU people. We're going to get some Tampa, Florida people. We're going to get some people from all around North Carolina on my side, just side. For everybody who may be tapping in, I know there may even be some newcomers along the way. Can you, one, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then two, what brings you on the podcast today?
My name is Jay Coachman. I'm CEO of Coachman Creations, which is my business, where we encourage everybody to dream, create, and inspire to be the best versions of themselves. And that's all I really stand for. It's people pushing themselves to be the best. That's all you can ask for. And that's the energy I'm been putting out to connect with like-minded people like yourself. A few people out here in the crowd. It's just been taking me exactly where I need to go.
That genuine, that authentic, that pure energy, man. I love that. So, dream, create, inspire. How did that? Were they once separate? Were they just things that you practiced? Did it always come together like this? How did you really kind of come about? To me, it sounds like that mantra, like that true bold statement.
Yeah, it's an affirmation I've had since I was little. Like my mom always pushed me, and my parents both, to always be an artist. Like they never told me once that I couldn't live my dream. And I've been creating since I was born. You know what I'm saying? They've always encouraged it and fueled that fire and creation. Like everybody creates whether they realize it or not. Everybody's an artist. Like you can look at decisions you make in life as like a brushstroke you put on the canvas. Like if you picture the decisions like that, I feel like you will consciously create. You know what I'm saying? And as far as inspiring everybody and showing inspiration, that was crazy. But as far as showing inspiration, man, like I'm inspired by people who create, people who aim to be different, people who aim to be themselves. Like you said, authenticity. Like I'm inspired by anything, everything.
When you really put it into perspective like that, when you really kind of take a step back, I know last night we had that conversation about people being present and then people merely just existing. When you're present is in that moment, when you're observing what's around you, when you're living, rather than just, we talked about that SpongeBob episode where he was just doing the same thing over and over, and it just felt like there was no existence, there was no like true purpose. So like you said, that inspiration can come from so many things, and I think sometimes we don't realize the beauty of the world around us until we really take a step back. Even when we were just touring the place today, I'm just looking back like that. I'm already seeing, you were telling me what you wanted to do, the business you had, the plan you had. I'm just like, I see that. We said it, cleared it back out. We put it. I'm seeing, I'm seeing all of that, and that's nothing but inspiration, but motivation to one, bring it to life, but two, like you said, just recognize that it's art all around us. It's creativity all around us. You may not be somebody who can put the work on the canvas.
Everything was created by somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like this world, we coexist and we co-create, like constantly, consistently.
Right. You even spoke about too with your parents creating since you were born essentially. So when did this really become a passion of yours? Was there anything that kind of steered you away? Was it something you were always going for as honestly as young as you could remember? When did you really feel like you really locked in on your creative side and it was just something where you woke up every day and you were just like, you wanted to do something, you wanted to get at it?
Bro, like literally I can't remember a day I didn't draw. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always just been a part of me. And like when I was younger, I did art and I did sports like football, basketball, and track. And like that took my time away from art, but like I still come home after practice, draw, like still paint or whatever. Like art has always been a part of my life. And like I said, my parents always watered it because they never seen nothing like it before. It's all about watering the seeds that you got.
So to play not even devil's advocate, but to think about another perspective of that, we hear oftentimes that there are creatives out there, artists, business owners, entrepreneurs, and sometimes they don't always get the support from family, from friends, from peers. I'll even say with the podcast, there were some people who, I thought would have, and not to say they're not in my corner, but I thought would have been gung ho, just as happy as I was, always encouraged me even when we talked about it. But, when you really bring a vision to life, it's a different reaction from it. So what was that environment like, really having, like you said, parents who watered you, parents who fueled that fire, and really it just gave you the ability to be untouchable almost?
Honestly, that's how it felt. Like I felt untouchable. I felt invincible. I still do. Like when I'm creating, I'm in my world, and to have like people around you that actually like buy me supplies or just give me little side projects to create with, just because they want to see me create, because they know it brings me happiness, knows it brings me like a personal growth when I'm creating. That's love. Like that's all I could ask for. Like I couldn't be any more blessed than to have parents and like my little brothers to constantly support me with my art. I know it's a lot of people out there that don't have that support, that gave up on that dream because they didn't have the support.
I like that point that you bring about giving up. You said, you even spoke about too, you said you can't remember a day where you didn't wake up and do something, draw to some capacity. So life happens though. Life happens to us all. For me, even thinking about the podcast, there were times where I took long pauses from episodes. I've changed locations 2 or 3 times since starting this podcast and doing things like that. So it's been a lot. I've recorded in closets. I've recorded on dining room tables. I've recorded in what is now a studio and even now factory. I recorded live events, so I've been able to do kind of far and a few in between. But was there ever any time where you felt like, this just wasn't it? Where it felt like you kind of wanted to give up? Because, not even from a art perspective where things are moving slow, but life happens to us all. Mind is a powerful thing. think sometimes our mind is not always locked in where it should be. Sometimes our mind, like you even said, you're in your world. Sometimes our mind takes some shifts and some turns along that world. We were talking last night about maneuver. Were there any times where you felt like your motion kind of stopped, where you felt like a pause and lost motivation, anything like that?
I wouldn't say I never paused and I never lost motivation, but things got hard where it's like, okay, I'm not at the point where I'm creating what I want right now, but I am creating, So like creating for school, creating for businesses, creating for clients and stuff like that, but not necessarily personally creating what I want. And that's not necessarily a hiccup or a pause, but it's like, okay, I'm just doing this because it's a connection to somebody else. I'm not doing this out of my spirit, my energy.
I love that though, because you said from the beginning that's a hard statement to stand on, not losing motivation, not pausing out. Because like I said, with me, I would never say I lost motivation per se, but I took some pauses. And sometimes when you take a break from something, when you take a step back from something,
stop though. That's the important thing, bro.
Very true. But I will say it's hard to rebound on something. When you take when it's out of sight, out of mind type thing, but it's something where you take a break from, or it's an aspect of your life that you don't have to dedicate to anymore, where the hard work doesn't. Because like I tell people all the time, whereas I'm a one man band, that doesn't mean that it's fun. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean I wake up just, hey, let's edit today. Editing is my least favorite thing. And especially when I started all audio, it was annoying. I would have to listen to a 40-minute episode for nearly an hour and a half. It's playbacks, cut in here and there. But so to take a step back from that for a week, 2 weeks, going out, you having fun, you're just like, wow, I'm not really thinking about going back to editing right now. But like you said, when it's just something that you love and you feel like you're just in your world and you're just having fun with it, you want that. You want to go back to that. But I will also say to stand on not losing motivation, not taking a break from something, that's amazing. So that's a true testament to you, your hard work and everything. One of the first things that I saw when I walked in here, you walked me into your studio. You said, this is my creative space. And my jaw didn't really drop, but it was in my head. Because I told you, I'm not artistically inclined at all. So everything that I'm seeing here, from the abstracts to the canvases to even the setup that you have, this vibe, it's amazing to me. This is new to me. This is you even giving me inspiration. I just moved into a townhouse. Now I want to decorate. I want to put some things up. I want to make some things happen. But for you, when you come in here, when you're in your creative space, no matter what time of the day it is, what day of the week it is, what's that feeling like? What is it? Because I know we even talked last night where sometimes you said it's not even about recording today. It's not even about making content. Like, yes, you post very consistently. You never stop. Same way you said you never did. But there are also times where you said just don't set up the camera today. Just don't make it happen. So what is that really like when you're locked in, when you can walk in, you can see all your work around you? Does that still, and it still gives you that motivation, that ability to keep going?
Definitely motivates me to keep going because I see what I can do. I'm a witness of my own creation, and I feel like the more even I have to show up every day to be accountable to myself, showing myself that I can be disciplined to what I want in life. And if I stop one day, it's just showing myself, okay, you don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I feel like creation to me is like breathing at this point. Like I wake up every day and I know I'm gonna do it. Like, I know I'm gonna do it.
I like that. That's strong. That's that's you locked in. But I love. But it's a difference between when you feel like you have to do something, when you feel like it's paying the bills, and when you feel like I'm just having fun. I haven't monetized. I monetized from this, but we even spoke nowhere near what we want to do, how we want to be. But if we were in it for the money, if we were just always looking for the next dollar, well, I would have stopped back in 2019. I may have not made it to 10 episodes, but here I am, 119, 120 episodes in, 3 years later.
That's that passion. That's that purpose. Like you're living in your purpose, and when you do that, you move with no resistance, bro. Like you just move exactly where you need to go, exactly where you need it, exactly where you want it. Exactly, and that's just like everybody has a spiritual energy compass. It just pulls you to where you need to be, right? You might meet somebody, a stranger, and they just needed to hear you say, "Hey, how you doing today?" And that just switched their whole vibe. Like you never know who you meet. You never know how you affect people. So it's always good to carry yourself if you're going to change somebody's life.
And that's so you spoke about something that Brenton, one of my first live events, he said you never know where somebody is, what they need from you, what you're even giving, what a simple interaction, what a simple hey, how you doing, what a simple holding the door. can change the trajectory of somebody's whole day, and that's amazing. When you really, like I said, you take a step back and really realize what's around you, rather than just existing, rather than just moving and grooving. So I go through your content a lot. One, because I have 2 pages, so I get the best of both worlds. I get to see a little bit of everything with the consistency. So thank you for that. But I see you've done a lot of different projects. I see you've been in a lot of different cities. I know we have ties to North Carolina, so I want to talk about Smoky Hollow. That was a dope project, man. That was that was crazy. Like that was to the point where I felt like that was a mini documentary. I felt like you walked us through, even what's playing behind us. Like I feel like you really walked us through a creation, just a process from start to finish. So how did that come about? I really want to know from beginning to end. What was that like? How did you acquire that? What was that work like? Was it a lot of traveling back and forth? All of that.
Bro, it was amazing. Like, life-changing experience. The hardest thing I've ever created, the biggest thing I ever created. And shout out to Artie Barksdale. He's a North Carolina legend, like in the Durham and Alamance County, like art scene that he knows all over. And he contacted me after I had this article done with a Raleigh magazine out there. And what's crazy is I literally just moved back to Tampa. And he called like a week later. It's like, yo, I got this opportunity. Are you down? I said, yeah. I was like, even though I got to come right back. It's like, no questions asked. I'm coming back. And he I spray painted before. I never did nothing on that size. So the first week he was training me as we were going, literally creating, learning, all in one motion. Going through, it was like mid-July. So the heat was crazy. Some days we couldn't get on the scaffold because it was too hot. So some days, 3 or 4 days straight, it rained, it was storming, and we was literally battling elements, but it was worth it, bro. We took our time. It took about 2 months to complete, but we took our time. We executed, and it was actually an original piece by Maya Freeline, who's another artist out there, North Carolina based, and she has ties with doing silk prints, different watercolors and spills. And so we took a small portion of a big piece of canvas and blew it up.
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
I still can't believe I did it.
I'm telling you,
looking back at it,
that's crazy. And even when you go through, like I said, as I was going through your content, when you even go through your page right now, it's almost like a story. It's almost like you can tell kind of where you were, what you were focused on, what you were doing. Even points in time where something may have been popular, you wanted to highlight something. But that, I really felt like from start to finish, wow, we're seeing everything. We're seeing the creative process. We're seeing something where, like you said, the elements. At the battle, there were certain things but I think it's important to even bring that up because people don't know that. People like me, yes, I know that project wasn't just, y'all came every day and just made it happen, but I also don't know that, 3 or 4 days, I couldn't get up. Yeah. You were learning as you went. This was something where it started here, minuscule almost, and you had to broaden. So that's great. And like I said, it's even more amazing to me because I can't do that, bro. I can't, I'm not, anything drawn, don't add, please. I can color, it needs to be already done. And I was just feeling that we can do all that. That's that's where I'm gonna shine. I'm gonna show you a picture I got where it was one of them pictures where you got to color like every number of different. But it was real small. Oh, I spent 3-4 days on it. I felt proud of that to the point I want to hold it up. But no, to really hear that, to hear what you do, to hear your love and your passion for it all, but you being able to get so many different experiences, that's amazing. So at this point, how many cities, how many places has art taken? Where have you been? I know North Carolina was big for you, but I know now you're in Tampa. I was even going through your page a little bit. I saw some things in Virginia. Where has art really allowed you to go and create?
Art has allowed me to travel the country and the world. The furthest I've been is the UAE. So that's Sharjah, that's Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. And I went there my junior year of college with my minor in global understanding and with printmaking. So I went over there and studied different patterns, just learned their culture, fashion. I even got to teach a screen print class. I got to do a wheat-based mural on the wall. It was amazing. UAE really is the future. I recommend everybody to go to Dubai and Abu Dhabi to study their culture. But as far as in the States, I've been mostly on the East Coast, Tampa, Milwaukee. I've been to Philly, I've been to Buffalo, I've been to Virginia, Georgia, Atlanta, off the East Coast. Furthest west is Arizona, and also Dallas. I found out Dallas.
Love Dallas. Yeah, that's one of my favorite spots. Okay, so look, on my Philly people, we were even chatting a little bit. We're gonna get something in Philly. We're gonna make something happen because I want to do an event there. He's already done work there and events there, so we're gonna make it happen. But no, that's beautiful. That's I think about the podcast. I think about me changing locations. I think about how I was able to interview someone from Australia this year, and that was my top stream episode. And now she has a store in Dubai. Her products are out there and things like that. So, like you said, the fact that we can connect, the fact that a passion, a love for something, just dedication to something can take you so many different people. Like I was telling you last night, when I was doing my statistics, because I get Spotify statistics and then I get website statistics. So when I'm going through the website, I'm seeing 38 different states. I'm like, I haven't even been to some of these states. 57 different countries. I've only been out the country twice. So, but it was 2 different locations. But that's 55 things just floating out there. But the fact that people are watching, people are seeing,
always
seeing.
watching. Like even if they don't like, they don't interact, they don't support. Everybody's always watching nowadays. That's just a part of our society. So you just have to get used to it and adapt.
Your content can literally inspire, motivate, create, let people dream. Anybody, and you may never even know that it could have done something for somebody that you would have never guessed, but because you didn't stop, because you did this, or you felt this creative each year, you went and did that. So I know you just spoke about your trip overseas and how you got to learn and just embrace the culture and things like that. How would you say you best learn? You best educate yourself? Are you constantly like on the web and different things like that? Are you a book type of person? Are you kind of just a word of mouth? You like to network? You're in the studio now with other artists. Do you kind of speak to them and get classes, everything like that? What is your best way to stay creative but at the same time educate and inform?
My best way is probably watching documentaries and definitely reading, but I love the human interaction, like the human experience. I learn the most, even if it's just a solo experience or a group experience. You learn so much off of just going through the fire. Like you just gotta walk through it. Like I'd rather walk the walk than think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a risk taker. I jump off the cliff. I'm known to I'll figure it out before I hit the ground.
When did you really realize that Coachman Creations needed to be a brand? I see you got the merchandise. The merchandise is shining, by the way.
Thanks,
I like that. I like that. Touch that shit. It's sparkling if y'all can't see it. But when did you really realize that, yes, this needed to be a brand? You are essentially Jay Coachman. You're a house. You should be you are a household name.
Appreciate that.
And people will recognize that soon. But the fact that what you do is unique, what you do is specific to you. You didn't stop. You didn't lose motivation. So when did you really say, okay, now I need to start tackling the business side of things. Now I need to kind of propel myself into that.
When I got to college, I realized how many people I did affect. Like I'm from a small town, shout out Oxford. I graduated with like 70 people. So going to ECU, I was like, it's thousands of people, bro. Like, and just doing different events, networking, and like people were like realizing like, people saying I'm like that. Like, I am like that. So it's like, all right, cool. So now I got the community behind me, and that just gives you more fuel, gives you more passion.
For the people out there, I know we're going to have some Philly people. We're going to have people everywhere, worldwide, out the country, everything like that. What can they expect when they come to, when they check out the page, when they check out the website, where I say that to say more so, there's a plethora of different artists. There's a plethora of different people out there, different styles, different eras, everything like that. Now that I think about it, shout out to my teacher, Miss Van Pham. I was not good at art quizzes and just memorizing the eras and the surrealism and I could not do that. And why it stemmed from that was because I'm not good at history. History is my least favorite subject. Yeah. I'm a numbers, math, English. We can do all that all day. But when it came to that, it was always so interesting to me how some people just worked on specific movements. You look at specific artists, movements, and different things like that, and they really just focused on different styles, different eras, and things like that. But some artists are still so versatile and creative, and some just stay away from certain things. Look, this is my lane, this is what I want to stick to. For the people coming to you for the first time, returning, anything like that, one, is there anything that you just don't do, any style of art or anything that you really just won't involve yourself in or just have not involved yourself in. But two, I would also kind of follow up to say, what makes you you? Stay true. Jay Coachman, how is that unique? What can people, what's the difference between you and another artist per se?
I mean, that's it. Like I can do everything. Anything I put my mind to, even if I haven't done it before, I know I'm a creative solver. Like I find creative solutions out of any problem, and that's my superpower. I'm not just okay. I paint. It's like nah, I can figure anything out, and I pride myself in that because I can shift lanes anytime I want, but it's still going to be the same amount of passion, same amount of grind, the same amount of like research put into it. Whether it's painting, tattooing, fashion, like music, producing, doesn't matter. Like it'll get executed.
I like that. Okay. Because I was asking everybody before we started how they knew you, how they came across. So now that you say that, somebody in here actually said that you did her tattoo. So you're versatile. And I think that that's important because sometimes I think we may block a blessing. I think that we may, because we're unfamiliar with something, because we're not educated in it,
Yeah.
it'll be a fear.
It's like a fear, yeah.
But for me, like I say, just try it. It may work for you. You may mess it up.
I literally got fearless tatted right here, bro. Like I live by that. Like,
What's the worst that can happen? Like you said, that risk.
Take that risk. That's the biggest thing I tell everybody. Just take the risk. You don't know until you try. You never know until you try.
As you look on, a lifetime of being a creator, always just having that piece in your life. As you look on even more so this year and everything that's going on, everything that's happened, just with being in Tampa and everything like that. As you reflect on 2022, it's been a crazy year. Honestly, it's been a crazy 2-3 years. But more specifically, just being in a new location, having new vibes, Smoky Hollow project, everything like that. What would you say when you sit in your space, when you kind of just take a deep breath, and you self-reflect? What are you most proud of? What is something that you really look back on, with the exception of Smoky Hollow? Because that was something, like you said, that was just a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing. But what is something where you really you can lean back, like I said, just relax and just be like, damn, I really did that. That was me. That's Jay.
Get in the studio. Like that's always been my biggest goal, my biggest dream as a kid. Like just having my own space where people, like everybody out here, can just come and just check out what I do specifically. Like they came to see my art, they came to see me create, and like when that happened, man, like I cried. Like I was so happy, bro. Like, and now we're here chilling inside of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we here. Like that's the biggest piece. Like I'm here. This is all me. Like I worked all these years to be right where I am now. Like, I manifested this. Like this is the frequency. Like I was supposed to be on, and now I'm still here.
And it's just crazy because I'll kind of put that into my terms. I'm 26 years old. I think about if I was doing this for a lifetime. I've only been doing it 3 years, and I've been able to amass certain things. But I think about a lifetime of creativity, a lifetime of just effort, just waking up every day. Not always having things my way, being told no. We even spoke about some situations last night where it really put you in a bind, and just certain things happen. Life hits.
Yeah.
To think about on the other side, the manifestations, just the affirmations, just the prayers, everything that went into it, the money lost, money gained, friends lost, friends gained. The fact that on the other side, you still made it. You still made this happen. Had you at any point faltered, stopped, called it quits, closed the laptop, turned the cameras off, lost, maybe cut off a mentor, anything like that, this wouldn't be what it is.
Exactly.
And it's just like I tell that story to everybody, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, 9 to 5, whatever you do, just go at it. Because you don't know, you never know what's on that other side. And an analogy I make a lot of times on my podcast, I probably made it on 10 plus episodes now, is that picture of the two men that were underground that were digging for the diamond.
Yep.
One man hit the diamond, and the other man was just so focused on him and what he did in the celebration that if he would have just went 2 more times,
Yeah, the biggest time.
he would have had a bigger one. And that's scary to me because it's just like, wow, tomorrow, like you don't know what you could wake up tomorrow. You don't know what when you publish an interview, what when you connect with somebody, who when you talk to, what's going to happen. Just opening your mouth, just having a conversation. Like I said, I had somebody ask me at my last live event, like, how do you just sit with people and just talk? I said, like, you don't prepare, you don't have any questions written down, you don't have anything you're looking at, you sitting in front of people. Like, how do you just do that? I said, I just use these. Like I just listen. I got some big ears, so I can hear. But you just listen. You know, you actively listen to people. When you talk to people and they're really talking back to you, you don't try to just respond and think about what you're going to say. That's when you lose it. The conversation is over.
Script.
It's like robotic.
Yeah, exactly.
When you genuinely listen, you might not even say anything related to you. People would say that about me all the time. But why don't we know you have a podcast? Why don't we know you have a master? Why don't we know you move? Because I'm listening to you. I want to know you. I'm talking to you. And if I just feel like me throwing my facts and my part of the story in the mix is just not relevant right now, it's just not.
Yeah.
We can get to it at some point. We'll get to it when we need to. But right now, you don't know what you could bring
me as a person.
Just from talking to them.
Exactly.
Just from we really sat at the bar last night and just chopped it up. And I didn't realize how much we had very similar paths.
Yeah.
And resonated with a lot of each other. And just the fact that we were out here moving and grooving.
We probably
drove past. I drove past your studio every day on my way to where I've been here for a year and a half. Like that's so crazy. I told you the first time the reason why I made this left today. But it's because we've been talking, we've been checking in, things aligned and happened exactly how they should. Exactly. But had I ever faltered off the path, had I ever just lost too much motivation, had it ever really been out of sight, out of mind, never coming back, this wouldn't be what it is. And to me, that's always just a fear that I have in a sense, but it's also just like motivation. Like people, I'm fine to work 8 to 5 and then get off. My first interview is at 5:30, and then I got to record content for another video because I love what I do. It's fun.
Any moment can change your life, bro.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I used to think I needed to bring the heavy hitters on here. The heavy hitters are you. From my previous episodes, I'm thinking I need to go viral and talk to the Janae Aikos and the Big Sean's and just everyone. And I'm like, talk to Jay Coachman, talk to Aaron Jeter, talk to Joe Strange, talk to Trey Ahmad. These we're all household names. We're the reason why, because I think even back to the brand perspective about we constantly return to these brands, no matter what experience we get, good, bad, and different, ugly. We'll never shame these brands the way we'll shame a black business. Yeah. We'll shame a friend of ours who just, we quick to post on Instagram, try to go viral, block her, block this, don't do that, but with these other brands, they do you dirtier than that every year.
And that's why you gotta stay focused on you, man. Stay focused on your lane, your purpose, and your passion. That's the only thing you can control is what you're doing. Gotcha. People stare off all the time and they lose themselves. But if you stand on yourself, pushing yourself, motivating yourself, you're gonna spread that energy and it's gonna affect, like we saying, affect the ones around us.
So I'm big on the future. Like for what you can. The people who know me, people who hop on here and listen to the episode, they know that I'm gonna try to pull whatever I can. I want to know. Like I'm nosy, So for what you can disclose, for what the people can expect, what's next for Jeff? We're not even because of the fact that we're closing out 1 year soon and entering another, but I know your mind is always thinking. I know you're always kind of in, just different projects, different things like that. Like you said, as soon as you got back here, Raleigh called, no questions asked. Yeah. So we were even talking about some kinds of things you got for the back and for this whole space as a whole. So what can the people expect moving forward? Because we're going to have some people just tapping in with you for the first time. We're going to have some people who have been here for quite some time. So what's next? What are you thinking? What's on the horizon?
Definitely more. Now that I'm growing in Tampa, the biggest goal has always, anything I do, I always connect with people. That's the affecting the community will change everybody's life, especially with art. And there's other artists here that we've even discussed it. The main artist, Brian Martinez, he got this thing started. He actually teaches like every day at ACC, which is a community college. And he told me, like, if you can affect the children, the future will always be brighter than it was before. And that's all I aim to do, like, do more community events, more workshops, actually educate and share my knowledge of the arts with more people. And that's really it. Like, more, like, I'm still going to be doing more content, new clothes coming. I say that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the future. I don't like to confine myself to a strict plan. It's like I said, like with Smokey Hollow thing, a moment can change your life, bro. And you never know when those moments occur. Right?
So you just gotta be in position.
Ready. Yeah, if you're always ready, always prepared. Like when the time comes, it's like, all right, I just gotta show up, man.
Okay. So, do you feel like there's anything we haven't touched on today? Anything that somebody tapping in may need to know? Anything, whether it be J. coaching related, studio related, community related, art related, anything like that, that you just feel like you want to talk about, you want to give for the people?
No, I really don't. This whole interview, this whole vibe was amazing. Like I love creative connections. Like I said, everybody's an artist. You never know what anybody's passion is until you talk to them and see what they do and see how you connect. So I definitely want to see more events like this.
Yeah.
I want to see you interviewing more Tampa creators. I want you to invite me, and I want you to really show Tampa what you about, bro. Like, you give me all the flowers. I need to give you your flowers because, like, you really been on your grind. You really said, like, you're over 100+ episodes on your podcast now. Like, that's amazing, bro. Like, people don't continue. Like, people aren't consistent. You could have stopped at 10 and like, all right, this ain't for me. Like, Johnny said this ain't for me, so I'm gonna listen to Johnny. So I ain't gonna do this no more. Nah, you listen to yourself. What you see in me is just a reflection of yourself, bro. And I appreciate you as well. And before we end, bro, I actually got something for you, man. Got you a printout of your Tuesday poster.
Yo, see, I told y'all, bro, this has probably been the most like, that's crazy. This might be my favorite podcast gift like ever. To anybody who's ever gifted me something for the podcast, I'm very appreciative. But no, this was just one because it was so unexpected, but two, just from the details to he put the waves in there. It was so like it was just because I wasn't expecting that because I was watching him do all the Tuesdays and watching it all come together. And I'm just like, man, like he is fire, he is talented. I was watching him do the coffee and he explained how he was doing the coffee. So when I saw this, bro, I said, wow, my followers were just like, I had Philly people reaching out like, how did he do that? Like, that's fire. Like, that's crazy. But this is, we're going to take a picture with this. This is hot. Like, this is fire. So thank you, my brother. That's real.
I appreciate you, man.
Love. Thank you, bro. So thank you for that. Thank you. I'm and one last thing I'm going to do just for everybody, because I always do this too, just for, just out of respect for everyone here listening. But no, obviously I want y'all to tap in with him. I want y'all to show him love. I want, whether you're in Tampa, Philly, Atlanta, no matter where, obviously he's been everywhere. So he told you, there's no limit to what he can do and what he can create for you. And if he's never done it, he's more than happy to do it. But no, where can the people find you? Where can they tap in with you if they want to reach out, if they want to collab, if they need any personal custom pieces, tattoos, anything like that?
Tap in Instagram at JXY Coachman, COACHMAN. Also, CoachmanCreations.com. You can see some art prints, clothing for sale, and also CoachmanCreations@gmail.com if you just want to connect direct and talk business.
All right, y'all. So look, this has been beautiful, man. Just from the vibe, just from the fact that I was just in Charlotte last weekend doing a live event, and now I'm here doing another one in a studio in a very artistic and creative space. I'm feeling like I could get on the canvas after this, but I know I can't draw. So, but look, I'm always excited. I'm always happy. I'm always appreciative from the people who showed up today, from the people who hopped on Instagram, from the people who are going to view this, man. Thank y'all. The vision is not stopping. Big shout out to Jay, man. Big shout out to everything that he's doing to link the community, to bring Tampa together, to even unify what's going on in North Carolina. So look, without further ado, this has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast. Here with Tamar Turner.